Gonpeko, welcome back to the channel where we talk about stuff happening in the VTuber world. And today we take a look at your favorite war criminal in Hololive, Pekora, who recently got a lot of backlash for trying to catch a shiny Mew on her livestream using an illegally modded game cartridge from the Pokemon Emerald series. Japanese fans were not happy with the fact that Pekora was using an illegal copy of Pokemon Emerald, and the backlash was so immense that Hololive was forced to issue an apology. Hololive would consult with Nintendo regarding Pekora's livestream that they suspect violated guidelines, and Nintendo has responded by ordering Hololive to do the following things. Pekora's livestream will be made private, since continuing to publish it may lead to misunderstandings. Hololive will avoid future video projects that pose a risk of violating Nintendo's guidelines, and Hololive will once again inform their VTubers of the need to comply with Nintendo's guidelines. Hololive would once again reaffirm that they would make improvements by educating and instructing their VTubers before apologizing to both fans and Nintendo. Pekora would also apologize on her livestream, saying she didn't know it was an illegal cartridge and that she wouldn't do it again. Now, before we continue and explain what led Pekora to this point, I just want to say I don't really find it a problem that Pekora is using mods on her Pokemon cartridge, and that's because mods and emulators are actually accepted outside of Japan. And whenever Nintendo shuts down an emulator or a mod, we rise up to protest against them. The use of mods has generally been accepted and celebrated in the gaming world, and so to see her being demonized because she used a mod feels kinda odd. Over there in Japan, they can't handle the fact that mods exist. They're not like us, and so when someone uses a mod, they're demonized, especially when they're streamers. I guess it's just a difference in culture, but yeah, I don't find it a problem if Pekora wants to use mods just to catch Pokemon. It's not an issue for me. Everything began when Pekora decided she wanted to have a live stream where she tried to catch a shiny Mew in Pokemon Emerald. Now, Pekora clearly didn't want to catch the normal Mew that was pink in color. She wanted to catch a shiny Mew that was blue in color. There's only one problem. Catching a shiny Mew in Pokemon Emerald is impossible. And that's because the only way you could get a shiny Mew is if you had an item called the Old C-Map. And the Old C-Map is an item that you can only get through an event that happened in 2005. The event was limited to Japan, and so a lot of people, especially overseas fans like us, we would never be able to get our hands on it. Even in Japan, it's an extremely rare item that barely anyone can get their hands on right now because they never had a new event for the Old C-Map. By the way, Nintendo also discontinued the manufacturing for Pokemon Emerald cartridges as well.
This is maybe one of a handful of the untouched Pokemon cartridges that are still in circulation, the Old C-Map. This item was an in-game event that allows you to visit a location called Faraway Island, which allows you to encounter and catch Mew. Across the entire history of Pokemon events, this specific one is seen as the holy grail of events, and this Japanese YouTuber's reaction of finding this event on a random cartridge pretty much says it all.
Oh, 無限のチケット。あ、すげえ来てるこれ。Whoa!
Many YouTubers outside of Japan have tried to get a shiny Mew, and only a small fraction has managed to get one. So it's basically impossible. But Pekora, she had a game plan, and that plan was to buy a bunch of old Pokemon Emerald cartridges in bulk from a website called Mercari. By the way, this is what a Pokemon Emerald cartridge looks like. Mercari is a website in Japan that sells second-hand goods. And so Pekora went around shopping for a bunch of cartridges. You can see there are a lot of Pokemon Emerald cartridges right here. It just keeps scrolling on for forever, you know? I think she bought around 20 to 30 cartridges just so she could open them on her live stream. Pekora was determined to find her shiny Mew, and so she arranged a bunch of iron beads in the shape of a Mew to pray for luck and went on her live stream to begin the process. Now what Pekora had to do was simple. Just plug in a bunch of Pokemon Emerald cartridges onto her Game Boy Advance and look for the Old C-Map. If a game cartridge had the Old C-Map, that meant Pekora could initiate the event that would allow her to get Mew. Pekora would take the game cartridges for Pokemon Emerald and put it in the Game Boy Advance over and over again. She would take it out, put it in, take it out, put it in, take it out, put it in, until she found one cartridge that contained the C-Map. During her 20-second game cartridge, which is basically this number right here, if I understand correctly, she found the C-Map, which is this brown thing on the screen beside the green bag. This is the C-Map. This is the map that would allow her to get the shiny Mew. And Pekora celebrated. She was really happy to find a C-map. She even went and checked the Pokédex to see if there was a Mew. If there wasn't a Mew, that means the C-map hadn't been used yet. And sure enough, the C-map had not been used yet. This was insane. No one had expected this to happen because the C-map is so rare. Finding it in an old Pokemon Emerald cartridge unused is literally unheard of. And that's when Pekora's fans started to have suspicions. Wait a minute, getting a C-map in Pokemon Emerald is literally unheard of. It's like winning a lottery. That shouldn't happen. The only other possibility is if the Pokemon Emerald cartridge was an illegal mod.
Back during the days of GameShark and Action Replay hacking, it was extremely easy to input cheat codes that just gave you all the event items.
And sensing this possibility, a lot of Nosagis started warning Pekora not to use the game cartridge anymore because it could be an illegal mod. Pekora, being Pekora, obviously didn't listen because she was pretty happy that she found a C-map, and she continued to play the game. Fans started spamming the comment section and her live chat, urging her to reconsider. Pekora still didn't listen. Eventually, word got out that Pekora was using an illegally modded Pokemon Emerald game cartridge, but people still had no proof. So they went digging for the truth. Using the information they gleaned from Pekora's livestream, fans were able to track down the place where Pekora bought the illegal Pokemon Emerald cartridge, and it was this listing right here from Macari. What they found would paint Pekora in a bad light. Now before we continue, just a disclaimer here, I don't think Pekora did anything wrong, simply because mods are already accepted here, and it's only people in Japan who can't handle the fact that mods exist. So that's my stance on this. I'm not going to bash someone simply because they used a mod or illegal mod for their game cartridges, since a lot of streamers do that as well, and barely anyone calls them out. So it's generally accepted that you can use it. And now I'm about to show you why fans think Pekora was using an illegal mod, and how they were able to track down the origin of the Pokemon Emerald cartridge that Pekora was using. What I have in front of me on my left is basically the screenshots for the Pokemon Emerald cartridge that was sold on Macari, that Pekora allegedly bought. Allegedly because it's based on the proofs from fans, and we'll go through that now. And they compared the screenshots from the Macari page with Pekora's livestream, which is now on the right of the screen. First, we'll take a look at the topmost image. What you're looking at on the left is basically a Game Boy Advance, and you can see a menu and about section from the Pokemon Emerald game that it was trying to sell. And you can see on the bottom right of the screen, there are words that shouldn't be there, indicating that this is an illegal cartridge. Pekora, strangely, also had the same words appear on the bottom right of her Pokemon Emerald menu. This is the first proof that fans provide, indicating that this was the same game cartridge. There are 3 proofs in total. Second proof involves the color scheme of the bag as well as the theme. You can see it's like yellowish alongside stripes of red and black. You can see the shape of the bag is similar as well. The order in which the important items are arranged in the bag is also similar. This is the second proof. And now the third proof is basically a Pokemon that is present both in the illegally modded cartridge on Macari as well as Pekora's livestream. You can see there's a Sceptile, which is male, is level 58 and has 175 HP. On Pekora's livestream, there is also a Sceptile that is male, that is also level 58 and has a HP of 175. This is the third proof. And while I'm not saying it's a guarantee that this is the game cartridge that Pekora bought, fans believe that because of these 3 proofs, it's evidence that Pekora was using an illegally modded Pokemon Emerald cartridge. And so, the fans went crazy. They accused Pekora of using the illegally modded cartridge. They reported the incident to Nintendo. And as you all know by now, Nintendo issued a formal statement stating that they were sorry for violating Nintendo's guidelines, and Pekora would apologize to fans as well as the Nintendo fanboys who were butthurt by the entire situation. I have some translations right here, and according to it, Pekora said that she was cancelling the project, stating she would no longer try to find a shiny Mew using Pokemon Emerald cartridges, saying it's now a grey area, I don't know anymore, so I'm not going to do it anymore. In response to the allegations, he would say, if it was a modified version, Pekora wouldn't want to do it, and wouldn't be able to do it. I stopped streaming the video targeting Mew for the time being. First of all, I apologize for causing trouble to everyone. Pekora would also say, to be honest, it's just too suspicious, and I don't know which side is right, and if it is fake, referring to the Pokemon Emerald cartridge, then there's no point. So I'm not going to do it anymore. Moving on, Pekora would also say, after all, it's not Pekora's belief to go ahead with something when suspicions have obviously been raised. And I think it will make the viewers uneasy. I'll just pray that another opportunity will come. Now, I'm just going to warn you for a second time, these translations may be wrong, so for anyone who wants to translate the original video, if you want to translate, please translate it so we can have more clarity regarding what Pekora said. It might surprise you that the controversy doesn't end there, because even after Pekora apologized, there were still a lot of fans who were unhappy with the decision. And a lot more things came out because of the commotion, with some fans saying that while they were a Pekora fan, as a Pokemon fan, they couldn't defend her. Another fan would say, "What? Usada Pekora's contract hasn't been terminated? I'm so disappointed." Which sounds kinda harsh if you think about it. Come on, it's just a mod. He doesn't need to graduate because of that. Think of all the streamers who get away with it and nothing happens. Mods are generally accepted by the gaming community. No one cares outside of Japan. It's fine. Chill. And there were fans who supported Pekora as well, saying, "Stop harassing people. You have time to waste? Are you ready to fight back? Bring it on. I'll get rid of you. Don't bully Pekora." We had someone called Kumapion taking a more measured approach, saying if Pekora knew it was an illegal ROM, and ROM is basically a cartridge that has been illegally modified or modded, if Pekora knew it was an illegal ROM and still streamed it, then it's her fault. But if they don't know until they are told, then they won't know. It's okay to let people know it's an illegal ROM, and there's no need to criticize them. Let's speak a little more in support of Pekora. Overall responses seem to be mixed, with some people angry at Pekora still, while others are working their hardest to defend her. And that's even when the video has already been deleted. If you take a look at this is the video, the live stream where Pekora showed the CMAP, and if you click on the link, it goes directly to a video that is already unavailable. It's private, and still the fans are not happy. And I think this graphic will do a lot to explain why. And you can see this graphic had 13 million views from a lot of Japanese people involved in the situation. I guess they're not involved. I guess they were, mad at the situation or somewhat, engaged with it. So this is a summary of what happened. The distributor is Pekora. She wanted to catch Mew using some secondhand Pokemon Emerald cartridges. Obviously, if you want to catch Mew, you need an item called the Old CMAP that was only available through an event in 2005 where they were distributing the Old CMAP to people who went to the event. Can't really get it now since it was a Japan-only event. There is another way to get it, and one way is to basically hack your Pokemon game, mod the game. In Japan, modding is called an illegal ROM, and apparently they consider this a crime. Well, over here it's not considered a crime, it's kind of celebrated here. But I guess the culture is different there. And so Pekora obviously found the old CMAP on her live stream. And so the listener right here is basically a Nosagi saying that the data is likely been tampered, so it's an illegal cassette. So he should use a different Pokemon Emerald cartridge. And here you have a graphic where fans think that Pekora is ignoring criticism to carry on, and that she would be in trouble if, her fans started spamming her to stop playing the game that is an illegal ROM. And so she added illegal ROM to the ban list. Now, before I continue, I just want to say there is no proof that Pekora added illegal ROM to the banned words list on her live stream chat. Because let's be real here, she is a streamer, and so as a streamer, she has moderators for that. So if they see illegal ROM, the moderators probably thought this was disruptive to the live stream, and so, they just removed it. So this is what people are assuming happened. And the narrator says the problem is that she continued to live stream what appeared to be illegally modded Pokemon Emeralds that she purchased a second hand, even after her fans pointed it out. Again, I want to stress that Pekora may not have seen those concerns. And so this graphic is basically assuming a lot of things. They are assuming that Pekora added illegal ROM to the band's words list so she could ignore criticism and carry on. And second, this graphic assumes that Pekora chose to ignore the listener's advice. It assumes that she saw the concerns by, Pekora's fans, which she may have not. Now, regardless of what you think about this graphic, whether you think it's accurate or most possibly inaccurate, it is a fact that a lot of people have seen this graphic. 13 million people have seen this. And so even people who don't watch Pekora, who have nothing to do with the situation, who may have chanced upon this drama at a passing glance, this is what they see, okay? They believe that Pekora did the illegally modded game willingly. And so in Japanese culture, because it's seen as something bad, they're now mad at her because of it. Obviously, if she was an English streamer and she was one of us, then no one would make a fuss because it's generally accepted here. Modding is celebrated here. So are emulators. Another controversy has arisen that's linked to the Pekora controversy, if you can believe it. So apparently, because there were a lot of fans who wanted to argue for Pekora's innocence, that she never used an illegal Pokemon cartridge that was modded, they basically tracked down like the account on Mercari that purchased the Pokemon Emerald cartridges. And credit where credit is due, the drama tuber Kore was one of the first to bring light to this situation. He would discuss the evidence and proofs on stream. Through Kore, many people found out that the account that purchased the Pokemon Emerald that was illegally modded and may have been used in Pekora's livestream, allegedly, may have been this account, Mimichin. A bunch of people started looking up what Mimichin had bought in the past, and they linked it to a photo that Pekora had posted of her Dragon Ball figure collection. You can see a lot of the products that Mimichin bought reflected the products that Pekora had on her shelf. You could see Kore like making the links, showing off the Dragon Ball figure collection that Mimichin has bought was similar to the collection that Pekora also had. There was also the acorn theory. So according to Kore, the Mimichin account purchased a bunch of acorns. And based on the dates, a couple days after Mimichin purchased those acorns, Pekora would have a live stream, this live stream right here, where she used acorns to make chocolate. And so now people are using this theory to try to say that, oh, this is Pekora's account because she bought acorns from this website to make chocolate, and it was only a couple days apart from her buying the acorns. The Mimichin account also bought a lot of Pokemon Emerald cartridges around March leading up to the live stream where Pekora was trying to find a cartridge of Pokemon Emerald that contained the C-map so she could find her shiny Mew. There was also a bike that was the same brand that Pekora was thinking of buying. There was a jacket from Men's Clothing. And this is where the theories start getting crazy. Now, the Pekora fans, because they want to defend Pekora, are looking this and saying, clearly, because it's Men's Clothing, that must mean this Mimichin account could be a manager's account. That's right, because if a manager was the one who bought the illegally modded Pokemon Emerald cartridge to Pekora, that means it's not her fault because she doesn't know, and she didn't know from the start, that the Pokemon Emerald cartridge was illegally modded, because how could she know? Because someone else bought it for her. It just gets crazier and crazier and crazier. You know the funniest part of like Kore's live stream? There was a part where a Pekora fan came in, he was an Usagi, and he started arguing about the acorns, about how this doesn't prove that Pekora was using the account, because clearly there were other things that Mimi-chan bought in addition to the acorns, so it could be someone else. And it was funny watching Kore and Pekora fan arguing back and forth. Like, the controversy had somewhat died down at this point. Hololive had apologized, Pekora had apologized, and here he was, a drama tuber arguing with a Pekora fan over acorns that may or may not somehow prove that Pekora was the one using the Mimichin account. That's peak comedy right there. There were other videos of creators just trying to get the situation out to more Japanese people. But overall, I think the controversy is dying down. Let's remember, Pekora had a PlayStation collab, a literal PlayStation collab. She's going nowhere, okay? It doesn't matter if the Japanese people think Pekora is in the wrong for using an illegally modded game, even though it's not really legal over here, since most of us don't care. So I think Pekora will be fine. Because at the end of the day, I don't think Hololive is stupid enough to like fire one of their largest talents over a Pokemon mod. That would be just stupid. Besides, other Hololive VTubers have used mods in the past as well. So not really an issue apparently. And they never got any backlash. So why did Pekora get backlash, you know? I think it was just at the right time, at the right place. That's why she was involved in controversy. You know, ironically, like Mio had some tarot readings, and she said Pekora would get into trouble around March till April, and in a messed up way, she was right. Mio's skills with the tarot cards are really something, huh? God knows how she does it. Let's end all of this with a statement from one of Pekora's most valiant fans. We have Hayano Miller saying, I usually don't get involved with this stuff, but as a Pokemon shiny hunter and collector at the heart of my content, Pekora hasn't done anything wrong. Thanks for stating the obvious. Moving on, Hano says, older cartridges are infamously hard to tell what is hacked or ROMs, especially nowadays with the quality getting better. You have to exactly know what you're looking for. A casual Pokemon player isn't going to understand what to look for, let alone what they need to check. Hell, even some experienced collectors get duped because these games are infamously hard. I think it's crazy that people are demanding an apology for this when emulating and modding Pokemon games is so extensively done. Very true. Clearly, she has a lot of love for the experience of the game, and as long as she doesn't mind, let's make the best out of a bad situation. The only person you should be demanding an apology from is the person who sold it to her, because they likely said it was an authentic copy. This game with the Mew event is super expensive to get your hands on, and very rare, even if it is likely to be a touch easier in Japan. I understand if she doesn't have the money to immediately spend on a new copy, if she can even find one that is. TLDR, let her have fun. I would recommend she get her money back from the seller if it genuinely is inauthentic, but I'm not going to make her fork out and find a new copy just to justify herself, nor am I going to expect her to apologize to Nintendo, because that's honestly ridiculous when she is a victim too. Too late for that, she already apologized. Hololive apologized too. But anyway, Pekora will be fine, nothing's gonna happen to her. That's the end of the video. Thank you for coming, thank you for watching. This is Terry Nebula, signing out.